There's like 4 little facts of what happened, and then the rest of it is fluff that's been added over the century.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 10 shocking and interesting facts about Thanksgiving that aren't widely known.
In 1676, King Philip, the Wampanoag chief, was captured and drawn and quartered.
Number 10. The 1621 Thanksgiving was not the first.
Menendez christened the new settlement San Agustin, or St. Augustine. It was September 8th, 1565.
Long before the Pilgrims, indigenous peoples across the Americas held harvest celebrations to give thanks for nature's gifts like animals and vegetables. Even among Europeans, earlier Thanksgivings took place, and in North America no less.
Father Lopez then conducted a Mass of Thanksgiving, and Menendez ordered that a meal be prepared for everyone, including the natives. This was 55 years before the Pilgrims even arrived in Plymouth.
Spanish explorers held a Thanksgiving Mass in Florida in 1565, and English settlers in Virginia observed another one in 1619. The 1621 event was unique mainly for symbolizing cooperation between the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims after a successful harvest. It's not like they both got together and just invented a whole new practice for the fun of it. It was a combination of pre-existing traditions from both cultures.
A few years ago, Dr. Michael Gannon drew fire when he called this meal the true first Thanksgiving.
Number 9. Probably no turkey.
Today, we're flipping the script on an American classic, Thanksgiving. No turkey, no cranberry sauce, no stuffing.
Turkey is so ingrained with Thanksgiving that it's hard to imagine it not being a part of the holiday. Of course, it was probably not the centerpiece of the first Thanksgiving. When the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag shared a feast in 1621, it looked almost nothing like a modern Thanksgiving meal.
We're going to try to recreate what could have been the spread at the first feast. In particular, the 1600 version of stuffed duck with corn porridge.
They ate copious venison provided by the Wampanoag, along with seafood like fish, clams, and mussels. Vegetables like corn and squash were staples of indigenous diets and were also served as side courses. Turkey may have been served alongside other wild fowl, but historians believe it was more likely to be ducks or geese. The tradition of a centerpiece turkey didn't emerge until the 19th century, well after this dinner was in the history books.
Along with the duck and the corn porridge, we've also added raw nuts, cranberries, and cod to our spread, since those were also mentioned in the writings about the first Thanksgiving.
Number 8. Ragamuffin Day.
For this abounding provision, O Lord, we thank thee.
You all know about Thanksgiving, but do you know about Ragamuffin Day? Starting in the late 1800s, kids in New York City dressed in rags or dirty old clothes and went door to door on Thanksgiving begging for treats or food.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Sound familiar? Yep, Ragamuffin Day is the spiritual precursor to Halloween trick-or-treating, which didn't emerge in America until the 20th century. The practice of Ragamuffin Day largely came to an end in the 1930s, owing to a combination of the Great Depression, public anti-begging campaigns, and the growing proliferation of Thanksgiving Day parades.
Macy's announced within a week that the whole city should set aside Thanksgiving morning in 1925 because the parade would be back.
Number 7. TV dinners came from Thanksgiving leftovers.
While Swanson kept the meat refrigerated by running the train back and forth between the East Coast and the Midwest, they searched desperately for a better solution.
Next time you pop a frozen meal in the microwave, you can thank a slightly overzealous turkey order, at least according to one popular story. In 1953, the Swanson Company allegedly ordered way too many frozen turkeys. Not wanting to waste the enormous surplus of unused food, the company had the idea of packaging some leftover slices with a side of potatoes, peas, and stuffing in a metal tray.
Borrowing from the concept of the strato plate, Swanson salesman Gary Thomas pitched an idea. Preserve the turkey through flash freezing and sell it to consumers as a meal in a box. Voila, the TV dinner was born.
They called it a TV dinner, and it was a revolution. Fast, yummy, and perfect for watching football. It was not the first frozen meal, but thanks to the genius marketing of Swanson, it was the one people came to know.
I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Number 6. A magazine editor helped make it national.
For Women's History Month, we want to introduce you to a historical figure you may not even be aware of, who has made an impact on our nation.
If you thought a president came up with Thanksgiving, think again. For decades, it was actually the passion project of one determined woman, Sarah Josepha Hale, the editor of Godey's Ladies' Book. She spent over 30 years lobbying politicians to make Thanksgiving a national holiday, writing letters, publishing essays, and even appealing to 5 different presidents. 5. But her persistence eventually paid off, and her pleas found some ears. Abraham Lincoln's ears, to be exact. In 1863, he declared a National Day of Thanksgiving and Praise. So if you enjoy a long weekend in November, you can thank this 19th century magazine editor.
Impressive.
That is impressive.
I like it. That's some history for you.
Yeah.
And women's history.
Number 5. A Civil War unity tactic.
The President of the United States, right before he came to Gettysburg, issued a proclamation on October 3rd, 1863, asking Americans to set aside a day of thanksgiving and prayer on the last Thursday of the month in November.
When Abraham Lincoln issued a National Thanksgiving Proclamation, it wasn't just about gratitude. It was about the power of unity in a fractured nation. In 1863, America was deeply divided, torn apart by the Civil War and struggling to maintain any semblance of shared identity. Lincoln, with the help of Sarah Hale, of course, saw Thanksgiving as a way to promote unity and boost morale, particularly in the Union states, where optimism was essential for victory.
But thanks to President Lincoln, the Thanksgiving that you and I know as a standard national holiday takes place because of the American Civil War.
By giving Americans something positive to rally around, he hoped to strengthen both the public spirit and devoted faith in the Union. It worked, at least symbolically. The holiday became a tradition, but it was one built during one of America's most painful periods.
We've made it possible for one another to do terrible things.
We've won the war. Now, you have to lead us out of it.
Number 4. The Wampanoag weren't invited guests.
And as the leaves began to turn, they prepared, Edward Winslow reported, to in a special manner rejoice together, after we had gathered the fruit of our labors.
The iconic image of pilgrims and Native Americans sharing a peaceful meal leaves out one major detail. The Wampanoag weren't formally invited. In their canonical oral tradition, the Wampanoag showed up because they heard gunfire and assumed the settlers might be preparing for battle. When they discovered it was just a feast celebrating the settlers' harvest, they offered to bring along some food.
There isn't much of a record. There's a paragraph, I think, in Winslow that describes what's come to be known as the first Thanksgiving. It says nothing about an invitation. It's just that the English were doing this thing and Massasoit showed up with these 90 men.
The Pilgrims agreed, and the legend of Thanksgiving was born. Other historians slightly disagree with this take, arguing that Massasoit was already nearby for treaty business. So while cooperation did occur, the Pilgrims initially had no plans on involving the natives in their celebratory feast.
Can I squeeze in?
Sure you can.
Number 3. The Pilgrims later betrayed the Wampanoag.
But in 1675, another deadly conflict took place, one the English would remember for generations as King Philip's War. King Philip was actually a name given by the English to the Indian chief of the Wampanoag tribe, neighbors of Plymouth colony.
That alliance between the settlers and the Wampanoag, yeah, it didn't last. Within just a few decades, the English settlers turned against their former allies, seizing Wampanoag land, spreading disease, and waging war in their drive for expansion. By 1676, just 55 years after that legendary Thanksgiving, the Wampanoag were devastated by King Philip's War, one of the bloodiest and most destructive conflicts in early American history.
Tensions between the Plymouth colony and the Wampanoags were starting to develop because Plymouth colony was growing and expanding, taking over more and more land and placing more and more demands on the Wampanoags.
Villages were destroyed, over 7,000 lives were lost, and entire native communities were shattered. This side of the story often gets brushed aside in favor of the feel-good narrative, but it's an essential part of understanding what Thanksgiving meant for Indigenous peoples, a story of survival as much as loss.
The English, who at this point were inclined to see all Native Americans as enemies, attacked the other major group in the region, the Narragansetts. The end result was that the Wampanoags and the Narragansetts were pretty much hunted down.
Number 2. Thanksgiving as propaganda.
You right sure you want to jump him, Ethan?
That's what we came for, ain't it?
I thought we were trying to get them girls out, alive. jump them Comanche. They'll kill them, you know that.
As America expanded westward, Thanksgiving took on a darker, more nefarious purpose, one of national propaganda. Throughout the 19th century, politicians, preachers, and writers used the holiday to promote the idea of American destiny, framing settlers as righteous pioneers civilizing the wilderness, and indigenous resistance as an unfortunate obstacle to progress.
Comanches. They're not gonna like us killing these friends of theirs. We better get moving.
School plays, paintings, popular stories, and public speeches all painted a romanticized image of the Pilgrims and their supposed harmony with native peoples, a comforting national myth that helped justify colonialism and assimilation. So while the holiday brought families together around shared meals and gratitude, it also reinforced a selective national story that left many others unheard and ignored.
Though there is so much pain associated with the original Thanksgiving, I do appreciate being able to connect to the Wampanoag people through the food they may have eaten.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. A National Day of Mourning.
It's a tale of two Americas and two perspectives. While many people spend Thanksgiving with their loved ones and reflect on what they're thankful for other groups of people, it's a day filled with grief.
As you can imagine, Thanksgiving is actually a day of mourning for many Native American cultures. Since 1970, Indigenous activists, elders, and community members have gathered at Plymouth Rock to honor their ancestors and protest the historical erasure tied to their colonization and forced assimilation.
The truth is not told about what the real Thanksgiving was. It's like believing in the tooth fairy.
The event serves as both a memorial and a call to action, reminding the nation that for some, Thanksgiving represents not gratitude, but the beginning of centuries of violence and displacement. A reminder that for some to be thankful, others must suffer. It's a powerful counterpoint to the traditional story, urging Americans to look beyond the myth, confront some uncomfortable truths, and acknowledge the complicated history of how this holiday came to be.
Our presence here is a stark reminder of the true story of Thanksgiving that differs from so much from the fable story shared in classrooms, history books, and celebrations across this nation.
Do you know any other interesting facts about the holiday? Let us know in the comments below.